think this is one of the fullest auditoriums, if I can see all the way in the back, that we've had in a very long time. It's great to have everybody here. And good afternoon and welcome to the annual Spring Awards Convocation. And what has turned out to be a beautiful day to celebrate the achievements of our academic community as we implausibly wrap up the 2014-2015 academic year. As I stand before you at the end of my sophomore year, I want to extend my personal thanks and appreciation for another memorable year on the Hill. It is truly an honor to serve with you, to learn among you, and to join with you in enriching this Juniata experience every single day. So thank you. To kick things off today, today's speaker, the winner of the 2014 Beachley Award for Distinguished Teaching, please join me in welcoming Dr. Jamie White, the William I. Got a spirited crowd, Jamie. Dr. Jamie White, the William I. and Zella B. Book Professor of Physics. Jamie will be speaking to us on the topic of Hi, I'm Mr. White. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm White. Sorry, Jamie. Dr. Jamie White.
Thank you. The Boy Scout troop that I was in as a junior high boy was a pretty typical urban or city Boy Scout troop in my East Mount Airy neighborhood of Philadelphia. The troop met in the basement of my church and was also, what was also true for my Sunday school class, I was the only white boy in the group. Growing up in this neighborhood, I am not sure how much I was really aware of race. I mean, I was white, and that was different. But I don't think I quite got what that meant or how others viewed me based on race. I do still remember one day, almost 40 years ago, when my patrol, subset of my Boy Scout troop, was playing touch football in the street outside my house. A group of other boys from another few blocks away, and I didn't know who they were, came and asked if they could join in and play with us, and so they did. After playing a while, we took a break. And as junior high boys will do, we introduced ourselves to each other. Hi, I'm Pinkerton. Hi, I'm Evans. Hi, I'm Cole. Hi, I'm White. One boy quickly shot back, yeah, I figured that. But I didn't really get it. Like I said, I am not sure that I was really even that aware of race at that point in my life. So what do I say? No, I mean, I'm white. My whole family's white. When I think back on that day, I'm reminded of the first season of the Colbert Report, when Stephen Colbert proclaimed to someone that he was interviewing in his over-the-top satirical manner that he was, quote, colorblind, and that he could not tell what race people were, including his guest or even himself. And when he asked, are you black? Am I black? I don't know. Would you tell me? Now, this was one of Colbert's most ridiculous statements, which is truly saying something. But it did get me thinking about myself and how, as a white boy growing up in my neighborhood, I was undoubtedly the least aware of race of any of my Boy Scout troop and my Sunday school class. But then I am sure that my heart didn't pound when a police cruiser with a white officer from northeast Philadelphia passed the house when I was sitting on my front steps. I suspect that many of my friends may have felt very differently, even if I saw no reason to fear the drive-by. And when I left my neighborhood, I was not a minority. I was probably the only one in my troop who could relate even slightly to the idea that race doesn't matter. it was naive of me? Or is this one aspect of what is meant by white privilege? As a white junior high boy, I had the privilege to ignore race and be fairly oblivious to how race affected even the closest of my friends around me. So President Troja, Provost Bowen, faculty, and most importantly, the honorees and the graduating seniors, I would like to thank you for this opportunity. As a professor of physics, it is rare that I have a chance to give a presentation about anything I find important and not feel compelled to tie it to gravity, laser optics, acoustics, the Big Bang, or the Big Bang Theory. All topics I greatly enjoy and love to talk about, but not my topic of choice for today, obviously. My topic today is race and my growing awareness of white privilege. When I chose this topic many months ago, I immediately panicked. I asked myself, can I, as a white man with no formal academic credentials in the study of race, presume to stand up and add to the conversation on race? And the panic sets in again today. Fortunately, Dr. Jen Streb, last year's Gibble Awardee for Outstanding Teaching, taught us at this past fall's opening convocation the importance of just breathing. So I will try to breathe. Hopefully I'll do right by you. You might think, yes, how appropriate that he has chosen race as his topic in this 50th anniversary year of Selma, a march to which a group of Juniata faculty and students traveled to participate and ended up in a famous photo in Life magazine. And this year, filled as it has been with the tragic series of events in Ferguson, Staten Island, Cleveland, and now Baltimore, with both riots and peaceful marches, there's clearly a compelling need to encourage the conversation about race. And we all need to breathe. But I don't want to give an emotional talk about racism, but rather just continue a conversation about race. If nothing else, this past year has shown us all that we are not ready to declare that race is irrelevant in our country, and so we need to continue the conversation. Frankly, white folks like me need to do our homework on this topic and be able to engage in this conversation in a responsible way. As scholars educated in the liberal arts tradition, we need to inform ourselves, use our research skills to dig into the history and ongoing consequences of racism, use our analytical tools to place current events in context, act with scholarly integrity to shun easy stereotyping and superficial explanations. The conversation needs to be frequent, but not necessarily long or even profound. Until we are all comfortable with the topic, the differences, and the similarities of all of us, we just need to get familiar with the topic, with ourselves, within the framework of race, and with each other. If every conversation about race is about racism and is emotionally explosive, I'm not sure if we can really make the kind of progress that I hope to see in my lifetime. One way to move forward in the conversation about race, perhaps in very small but steady steps, is to tell stories. To tell our stories as they relate to race. Not just the big and the bad stories invoking emotion about racism, but also the very little, almost insignificant stories. These are often the stories that have framed our thoughts about race over the course of our lives. So I offered one story, and here are a few more of my very small stories. Even though I was pretty oblivious to race early in my life, my parents were far less ignorant of the civil rights movement and racism that swirled around typical American communities in the 1960s and 70s. So the next story I want to relate is more about my dad and how it is that my family moved from East Cleveland, Ohio, to East Mount Airy in Philadelphia. My dad was a pastor in a Lutheran church in the 60s. He was very active behind the scenes in enabling civil rights groups. When my parents decided to buy a house and move out of the home provided by the church, my dad convinced the congregation to keep the house for a while and allow community groups to use it as a meeting location and office space. At some point in the mid-'60s, he was part of a small group that picked up Martin Luther King Jr. at the Cleveland airport and facilitated him getting around to different meetings with pastors and community groups while Dr. King was visiting Cleveland. When my dad finished his PhD in political science a few years later with a thesis about the role of churches in community actions and community changes, he was called to serve at the Philadelphia Lutheran Seminary in Philly as the director of a new program to develop a mission for preparing current and future pastors in urban settings. And so, when I was 4, my family, my mother, my father, my oldest sister, my 2 older brothers, and I moved from East Cleveland. Now, you probably noticed I did some name dropping there. In particular, I mentioned my dad met with Martin Luther King, and in some ways, I am bragging. I mean, I am really, really proud that this meeting took place and that my dad had some role to play in the civil rights movement. But this is something that, frankly, I did not know growing up, for that is the kind of bragging that my dad just did not do. I learned a little bit more about my dad's role many years later when my daughter was in a play where she recited a few of Dr. King's speeches. My father very casually remarked that he was quite taken by how King could not only size up a large audience and deliver a moving speech, but could also quickly assess what a small group needed to hear and what he needed to say to get us to respond and work together. When my father said this, I was astonished, and I turned to him and I said, "What? You met Dr. King?" So he told me about his interactions with Dr. King. He did not really think much of it, and he had not told me before that he had met Dr. King. It was about a decade later, as my siblings and I were planning my dad's memorial service, that my 2 oldest siblings heard the story for the first time of King's visit and the role my dad had played. Now I can recall all the Sunday school teachers I had grown up with who proudly tell of their travels to Washington to hear King's dream speech. They would recount every march they had attended. As black men and women, they were full of pride of their support of the cause and their motivation to go to hear King speak. But my dad, he didn't seem to speak of it. Was he always more focused on the work he had before him in the community at the moment, diversifying the local economy beyond liquor stores and pawn shops, working towards peaceful integration and increasing safe public spaces? He was focused on what happened. He was not focused on what happened 10 years earlier, or even how far things had come. He always focused on the next step. I don't think this is white privilege that my dad rarely spoke of meeting King, or that it was not as significant to my dad as it was to us, or would have been to many of my friends growing up. But I do find it interesting, and I am not sure what it means. Maybe my dad was just politically astute enough to know that although he saw civil rights as a human justice issue, not simply a black person's issue, he, as a white man, could facilitate, but not really lead, and it was not his place to tell stories about race. After his death, while I was going through his papers, I discovered he once wrote that a group wanted him to be their spokesman in a meeting with some city officials, but he refused, saying that what needed to be said and the leadership that was required in that situation could not come from a white man. I get that, but I find it somewhat sad. I think that mentality has helped to lead us to where we are today. White men of great conscience, have been taught by society pressure that the topic of race is not something that we should ever bring up in casual conversation, unless it is tied with a story of outrageous racism, which returns me to my thesis. We have to get over this. We need to get comfortable talking about race. The conversation about race needs to be okay. There's been a lot written about white privilege over the past 30 years, but what I am just starting to grasp is that culturally, most of us have grown up with the ability to completely ignore race most of the time, where others are forced to see through the lens of race all of the time. The work of King and our work towards true equality can only be declared a complete victory when all people have the same privilege of being able to talk about race or be able to ignore race when they choose to. Last story. Again, not a particularly big story, but in the spirit of being able to tell our story, stories that have framed our thoughts about race, here goes. When I arrived at college, a small liberal arts college, rural community, blue and gold colors, but in Minnesota, I met my new roommate. He was from a small suburb of Minneapolis and lived only about a half an hour from campus. He had a girlfriend back home. And so he would often go home Sunday after his football game that he played in and arrived back on campus late Sunday night. After a semester or so, he started to realize what everyone else on the floor already knew, that he was missing out on much of the social life on campus because the only night in the week that he didn't have football practice or didn't need to be doing his schoolwork, he was away. But before he realized that, about a week before fall break, freshman year, he very sheepishly said he had to apologize to me. I was a bit clueless. He started by saying that he was sorry for not having taken me with him to his hometown one of these past weekends. And I thought to myself, what? So I could hang out with his girlfriend and him while all my new friends were back on campus? And then he explained. He said that when he had gotten the note that he was going to be rooming with James White from Philadelphia, he had told all his high school buddies that he was going to be rooming with a black man. Having known no black men before coming to college, he felt like he was quite the celebrity. And after meeting me, he was too embarrassed to tell his friends back home that I was not, in fact, black after all. But he wanted to make it right and take me home with him for fall break to hang out with his buddies. Let's just say I was blindsided. I mean, it never occurred to me that race was that important to anyone. Maybe I was more colorblind or just clueless than I had known. For me, I could choose to ignore the fact that my new roommate had framed our first meeting in terms of race. That was my privilege. I think about friends that I grew up with from church and the Boy Scout troop, and I sincerely doubt that they would have had that luxury. So in closing, I challenge you to make yourself vulnerable. Risk reflecting on and telling your stories, and whether they are about race, or about gender, or sexual orientation, or gender identity, or economic class, or educational level. I hope you will devote some time to discussing honestly with your friends what you have taken for granted and what you have had the privilege to ignore. So please, breathe deeply, then take the plunge. Thank you very much. You got this? Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. So in addition to our Juniata students, our faculty and staff who are joining us today, we also have some other guests with us. And I'd like to right now just acknowledge those guests. So the moms and the dads and the grandmas and grandpas, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, where are you? Please stand up so our students can say thank you for all the work that you have provided and support. Thank you very much, parents particularly, for being with us today and to join us in acknowledging the tremendous work of these students. Dr. Lauren Bowen, our provost, will now announce our academic recognitions.
President Troja, students, faculty members, and guests, it is my honor and my pleasure to announce the awards and scholarships given to students for academic excellence and contributions to the Juniata community. Each award will be announced by name, and a brief description of the award will be read. I would refer you to your program for a more complete description of each of these awards. We are pleased that most of our recipients are with us today. I would ask that each one of you who is identified to come to the stage, that you do so by the stairs to your left and my right, and receive the award from President Troja. Please return by the stairs to your right and my left, right? I might have to remind myself of that as we go, so. I should also note that Jack Barlow, Faculty Marshal, is assisting President Troja today. So the first award, the Accounting Plaque for outstanding work in accounting and for overall leadership, is awarded this year to Shayna King. The American Association of University Women, Huntington Branch, that award to a deserving woman student from the Huntington area who plans to attend graduate school. We honor this year Heather Williams. The Carol C. Arnold Award in Communication honors creative and positive contributions to the field of communication. This year's recipient is Brea Neri. The Art History Award for outstanding performance in and enthusiasm for the study of art history. We have two recipients this year. I'm happy to announce that Shelby Miller and Rika Opio are this year's awardees. The John M. and Thomas F. Bailey Oratorical Award for winning this year's Bailey Oratorical Contest goes to, in first place, Julia McMurray, second place, Maverick Force, and third place, Colton Hallibuck. The Baker Peace Studies Prize to the student who has participated significantly in the Peace Studies program, who has carried high grades in units which comprise peace and conflict studies, and who has an overall high grade point average. We award that award this year to Stephanie Farfan. The Rebecca C. Barrick Language Prize for Women Language Students with a Distinguished Record is given this year to Lauren Lucoris. The Alice G. Blaisdell Prizes in Mathematics or Computer Science for a Distinguished Undergraduate Record is awarded this year to Arnold Schwemline. The Dr. Andrew B. and Maria F. Broombaugh Science Prizes for Distinguished Undergraduate Records in Biology, Chemistry, or Physics will be given to several students, so please hold your applause until I read all of their names. Rebecca Broombaugh, Caleb Campbell, John Coda, Alexander DeBreck, Taylor Johnston, Morgan Knapp, Mackenzie Magley, Zachary Maffa, Jessica Scales, Katie Schroeder, Arnold Schwemmlein, and Andrea Waxmunski. The Brunton Award is an annual award from the Brunton Company to a senior who holds the promise of becoming a professional field geologist. This year's recipient is Zachary Maffa. Go then. Did I mention it was Zachary Maffa? The David R. Drew Psychology Award is given to a senior and to a junior who demonstrate academic excellence, interest, and competence in research and involvement in the larger community. This year's senior awardee is Victoria Buser, and the junior is Claire Mulder, who is currently studying abroad in Edinburgh of the United Kingdom. The Class of 1989 Endowed Award given to a junior exemplifying outstanding involvement in co-curricular activities while maintaining at least a 3.0 GPA is given this year to Lauren Lesser. And the Juniata College Museum Studies Award is given to a student that has demonstrated pronounced ability, professional potential, and commitment to the museum world. We have two recipients today, Leslie Troop, who is unable to be with us, and Rika Opio. The Raymond R. Day Social Work Award is given to a senior in the helping professions with an outstanding academic record. This year's recipient is Emily Severson. Emily was not able to be with us today. The Geology Fund provides an annual prize to an outstanding student upon the completion of historical geology. We award that to Kristen Kopira. And the William L. Hofelt Freshman Writing Award recognizes the best writing by a first-year student. We have three recipients this year: Lauren Beretta, Hallelujah Turner, and Catherine Williams. The Friends of the Library Award is given to a senior student who has, through his or her use of library resources, demonstrated the respect for independent inquiry and learning. This year's recipient is Eric Kruger. The Audre Lorde Award honors students who actively foster awareness and appreciation of diversity on campus and community. we have two recipients this year, Olivia Hockenbrock and Renita Swish. There are 5 recipients this year of the Villa Gardner Metzger Art Award for producing outstanding artworks. They are Jillian Blois, Catherine Moyer, Julia Nowak, Jonah Plymeyer, and Victoria Wolf. The Justina Marsteller Langdon Prize to the senior woman who exemplifies helpfulness to others and devotion to the college is given this year to Brea Neri. And the Herbert A. Miller Award is presented to seniors in business administration or economics who demonstrate characteristics and qualities necessary to be outstanding citizens. We have 2 recipients this year, Maverick Force and Caitlin Plummer. The Indigenous Peoples Culture Award recognizes a student who shows leadership and commitment to issues of importance to Indigenous peoples of the world. This year, the recipient is Benjamin Souders. The Noteworthy Physics Award is given to a student whose program of emphasis is in physics. The recipient must also be a member of the concert choir or involved in any area of the music department. This year we recognize Brian Gilbert. The Rufus Reber Physics Prize is given to a junior or senior physics major with excellent academic performance and campus citizenship. 2 awardees this year, they are Alexander Debrecht and Arnold Schwemlein. There are 4 recipients of the Charles M. Rice Accounting Prize for outstanding work in accounting. They are Kylie Barena, Shayna King, Isaiah Slutter, and Christine Zorner. There are several recipients of the Donald Rockwell Chemistry Prize given to students who have excelled in and contributed to the chemistry program as well as general campus life. Again, I'd ask you to hold your applause until all the names have been read. Recipients include Richard Bergen, Christopher Cueto, Peter Defnet, Amelia Kepler, Adam Liscalit, Rachel Rowlands, Reagan Taylor, Layla Tarab, and Feiyang Xu. The William Schlichter Award for Academic Achievement, Character, Dedication to Juniata, and Promise of Future Success is awarded this year to the following students: Harris Caller, John Coda, Ethan Farrell, Eric Kruger, Jungpin Park, Ward Judinsky, and Adam Weaver. The E.J. Stackpole Prize is given to a Juniata student making the most important contribution to the study of the history of the Juniata Valley. This year's recipient is Heather Kleber. The Samuel J. Steinberger Jr. Memorial Award is given to the first-year student with exceptional ability in mathematics who is also a participant in the Juniata College Orchestra. This year we recognize both Andrew Guide and Joshua Katz. The Tutoring Awards recognize outstanding student contributions to our campus-wide peer tutoring system and to the Writing Center. The two students being recognized for peer tutoring this year are Amy Ankney and Alexander Debrecht, and the two students being recognized for work in the Writing Center are Larissa Fox and Colton Hallebuck. We give the John R. and Emma G. Wald Humanities Prize to humanities students with distinguished work, especially in their program of emphasis. There are two recipients this year, Clinton Webb and Haineng Zhu. The Dale L. Wampler Award in Information Technology and Computer Science, which honors an outstanding senior bringing creative and positive contributions to information technology and/or computer science, is given this year to both Ethan Farrell and Harris Caller. The Max Bliss Angus Carnes Arnold Schwimmline Scholarship for Study Abroad to a student who plans a full academic year of study in France, Germany, Russia, or Spain is given this year to Margaret Likens. And the Charles L. Cox Brethren Scholarship for participation in religious activities and achievement of academic excellence is awarded this year to Sarah Olam Minich. The Jane P. Carpenter Endowed Scholarship for International Study in France is awarded to a student who shows exceptional promise in the study of French. We recognize Veronica Laub. There are 6 recipients of the Dr. Kenneth W. Crosby Endowed Scholarship in History, which is awarded to students who have done excellent academic work in history. They are Jonathan Altland, Emma Campbell, Olivia Malunzi, Kayla Morgan, Emily Reinl, who is currently studying abroad in Marburg, Germany, and Taylor Wells. The Esther M. Doyle Theater Scholarship is given for significant contribution to theater at Juniata College, either in performance or as a member of the crew. 2 awards this year given to Julia LaPlante and Patrick Rutledge. The Charles C. Ellis Endowed Memorial Scholarships are given for unusual scholarly competence and citizenship. 3 recipients this year, Morgan Decker, Sarah Elder, who's currently studying abroad in Leeds, England, and Kate Lorenzen. We give the Dr. Frederick J. Fricker Honorary Scholarship to a rising senior chemistry or health profession student who exemplifies scholarly excellence and dedication to medicine and humanity. This year's awardee is Benjamin Fowler. The Leonard L. Foose Jr. Class of 47 Scholarship is given to a student entering the senior year who has an excellent academic record and has written a program of emphasis from the Department of Accounting, Business, and Economics. This year's recipient is Michael Lifshitz. The Gibble Summer Service Scholarship is given to students who have given their time to improve the lives of young people. The two recipients this year are Catherine Shoemaker and Alexandra Webb. The Martin H. Hine Endowed Memorial Scholarship for Meritorious Achievement and Character is given to 3 business students this year: Paige Bond, Adina Delozier, and David DeFriest. The Ruth Ellis Hodnott Endowed Scholarship is awarded to students majoring in early childhood education. We have 2 recipients this year, Elaine Demeter and Alyssa Sellers. The Glenn P. Holsinger Class of 47 Scholarship is awarded to students with a program of emphasis in accounting, business, and economics who have excellent academic records. We have 3 recipients this year: Natalie Biesecker, Sarah Bilheimer, and Tri Hong, who's currently studying abroad in Marburg, Germany. The Juniata College Honor Society awards scholarships for a high grade point average, creative use of the program of emphasis, and for extracurricular activities. The 2 recipients this year are Nikia Ulrich and Dennis Wilt. The Huntington Music Endowed Scholarship for unusual talent in music and participation in on-campus musical activities is awarded this year to Alexandra Stout. The Margaret McCrimmon Endowed Memorial Scholarship is given to a worthy student who demonstrates an interest in learning. This year's recipient is Claire Mulder, who is currently studying abroad in Edinburgh, Scotland. The John S. Mulchaney Scholarship in Digital Media provides support to a junior studying digital media as part of his or her program of emphasis. This year's recipients are Megan Myers and Morgan Harrell. The NICE Endowed Scholarships for Study in Latin America are awarded to students eligible for study abroad through a Juniata Study Abroad program. For the academic year 2015-16 in Guanajuato, Mexico, 4 recipients: Sari Baba, Jillian Murphy, Anvi Tran, and Michael Wexler. To study in Puebla, Mexico for the academic year 2015 and 2016, 2 recipients, Sarah Rednick and Kelsey Citron. One student is being awarded the NICE for studying Quito, Ecuador for all of next year. She is Laura Berman. Three students are being awarded a NICE for a semester stay in Guanajuato, Mexico. They are Nora Connors, Dallas Hamlin, and Cindy Munoz. Katie McGlone receives the NICE for her one-semester stay in Quito, Ecuador. And two students are being awarded a NICE scholarship for their summer stay in Orizaba, Mexico, Devin Kos and Sierra Stern. The Clarence R. Pence Endowed Pre-Medical Scholarship for Evidence of a Humanitarian Attitude, Scholarly Excellence, and Character is given to two students this year, Morgan Decker and Ronald Gerbel. The J. Aldous and Mildred Hale Reinhardt Endowed Merit Scholarship in Business Administration is given for academic achievement, leadership quality, and good character to the following students: Yu Yang Han, Frank Marino, who is studying abroad in Seville, Spain, Douglas Pierce, who is studying abroad in Marburg, Germany, and Dylan Thompson. The Reinhardt Darkash Endowed Scholarship for International Study and Education is awarded at the end of the sophomore year to an elementary education student who plans to study abroad during the junior year. This year's recipient is Casey Anthony. The Donald M. Rockwell Endowed Chemistry Scholarship for high academic achievement and excellent potential for further study is awarded to the following students: Lauren Ball, who is currently studying abroad in Leeds, Benjamin Fowler, Jessica Hatter, who is currently studying abroad in Guanajuato, Mexico, Andrew Callback, Trey Matthews, who is currently studying abroad in Leeds, Catherine Shoemaker, and Christine Whiteman. The Ellen G. Shea Scholarship Fund is awarded to a student who has indicated the intent to pursue graduate school in library science. This year's recipient is Martha Carpenter. The Dr. Norman E. Seams Endowed Scholarship is awarded to either a physics or an engineering major. We award it this year to Tyler Hershey. The Philbrook Smith and Edgar Hart Scholarship is awarded to a student traveling abroad who has a POE in history. This year's recipient is Madison Queso. The John N. Stauffer Endowed Humanities Scholarship for outstanding ability and personal character is given to two students this year: Neil Donovan, who is currently studying abroad in Marburg, Germany, and Kirsten McKenzie. The William F. Tinsley DMD Endowed Scholarship is based on academic merit and is awarded to a student from the Bangor and Laheyton areas. This year's recipient, who is unable to be with us today, is Jonathan Phillips. The Luella Robertson True Heft Drama Scholarship is for a student who has shown outstanding ability in drama and/or public speaking. We have 2 recipients this year. They are Julia Mathis and Jacob Sinclair. The Wolf Kuhn Foundation Business Scholarship is awarded to a business and economics student who has an interest in the ethical conduct of business. This year's awardee is Adina Delozier. The Dr. Homer C. and Ethel F. Will Endowed Scholarship is given to a biology student who has shown high academic achievement and excellent potential for further study. We have several recipients this year. They are Jaylene Brown, Morgan Decker, Gordon Dimmig, Catherine Dowds, Drew Aline, Benjamin Fowler, Laura Kelly, who is currently studying abroad in Gaius, Ecuador, Megan Limo, Emily Nye, who is studying abroad in Cork, Ireland, Abigail Rosenberger, and Callie Wise. We have 3 recipients of the Paul R. Yoder Endowed Memorial Scholarship for a student majoring in physics who has performed excellent academic work and intends to pursue an advanced degree. They are Kyle Gill, Jason Ray Alfaro, and Teresa Termanian. I would also like to recognize some students who have received special honors. They've competed for very prestigious fellowships. They've competed with students outside of Juniata College. We are exceptionally proud of their accomplishments. As I call your names, would you please stand? Awarded the Fulbright and English teaching assistantships this year, we have 3 students. Molly Adler, who will be going to Russia, Mackenzie Coulter-Kern, who will be going to Mexico, and Megan Veneman, who will be going to the Czech Republic. The Ernest F. Holling Scholarship provides support and multidisciplinary learning experiences for undergraduate students interested in pursuing research. This year's awardee is Catherine Shellady. We are proud that Marlene Matula was awarded the Boren Scholarship for International Study. Nikia Ulrich was an honorable mention for the Goldwater Scholarship. And the Andrew Mudge Scholarship, given by the St. Andrew's Society of Philadelphia for study at the University of Edinburgh, this year was awarded to Nathan Anderson Stahl. Academic athletic awards for both athletics and academic excellence or community service and citizenship will be presented at the athletic awards ceremony this evening. Please join me in congratulating all of these outstanding students. Thanks. President Troha may be completing his sophomore year. I'm a freshman, so again, we'd like to extend our congratulations to these outstanding students. A list of awards and scholarship winners will be available on the table in the lobby. I'd now like to call on President Troha to present 3 faculty awards.
I don't know about you faculty and staff, but when we see these faces come up and we shake these hands, these are some great students that we may be losing right here in Huntington, but we're gaining as very proud alumni. So congratulations to all of you students. So it is indeed my pleasure to present this year's faculty awards, and there are 3 of them. The first one being the Henry H. Class of 1957 and Joan R. Gibble Award for Teaching Excellence, which recognizes teaching among faculty members who have been at Juniata for 6 years or less. Our first recipient joined the Juniata College faculty in 2009 as an assistant professor after compiling a significant list of accomplishments in private sector business. At Juniata, she teaches Introduction to Business, Financial Accounting, and Auditing. She previously served as Vice President of Finance at Paradise Datacom in State College from 2001 to 2009. In 2011, while working full-time at Juniata, she earned recognition as a Certified Fraud Examiner from the Association of Certified Fraud Examiners. As might be expected from these previous credits, she is also a Certified Public Accountant. She earned a bachelor's degree in accounting in 1991 from Penn State University. She went on to earn her certification as an accountant in 1993. Her business career began in 1991 as a senior accountant with KPMG Pete Marwick in Pittsburgh. She then moved into corporate finance in 1994 when she accepted a job as financial analyst at United Technologies Corporation, Hartford, Connecticut, where she performed audits for a variety of companies owned by United Technologies, including Carrier, Otis, Pratt & Whitney, and Sikorsky. This professor later moved to Pratt & Whitney as a financial analyst and team leader. She was promoted to senior financial analyst in 1997 and left in 2000. She also is an active volunteer in her community, specializing in organizing fundraising events for local nonprofit agencies. She also has been a Girl Scout troop leader and a piano teacher. Please join me in congratulating the 2015 recipient of the Gibble Award for Distinguished Performance, Kathy Baughman. There was a little color in her face. The endowment for the Beachley Distinguished Professor Awards was established by several generations of the Beachley family of Hagerstown, Maryland. The 2015 recipient of the Beachley Award for Distinguished Academic Service has been deeply involved in faculty service since arriving on campus in 2001 as an assistant professor. He previously chaired the Student Research and Fellowship Committee, a group that identifies and mentors students in applying for major scholarships and fellowships. Over the past decade, students he and committee colleagues have mentored have received Fulbright scholarships, Goldwater scholarships, Hollings scholarships, and Amgen scholarships. Our recipient also has established a track record of excellence in attracting grant funding for his own research and has collaborated on grant projects that benefit Juniata as a whole. He and other faculty helped secure a $1 million grant from the Howard Hughes Medical Institute focused on incorporating genomics into Juniata's curriculum. Since securing the HHMI grant and another National Science Foundation grant on genomics, he has acted as primary administrator for the projects, doing yeoman's work, scheduling workshops, writing newsletters, conferences, and collaborating with other institutions. He earned a bachelor's degree in biology from the University of Notre Dame in 1993 and went on to earn a doctorate in marine science from the College of William & Mary in 1998. He was promoted to associate professor in 2007 and earned full professor in 2013. His research interests center on population genetics and genomics. His graduate research focused on the population genetics of the blue marlin. His postdoctoral work has centered on Pacific Coast rockfish. He has published more than a dozen scholarly articles in molecular ecology, evolution, conservation genetics, and marine biology. He currently is program director for the HHMI grant and acts as coordinator for the GCAT-SEEK Research Network. Please join me in recognizing the 2015 recipient of the Beachley Award for Distinguished Academic Service, Vince Buonaccorsi. The 2015 recipient of the Beachley Award for Distinguished Teaching is celebrated among Juniata students for his dedication to making sure every student in his classes grasps the concept of the lessons he teaches. He is always available to work with students on assignments, homework, or advising. One student recalled that our recipient once stayed and coached him until 1 a.m. to ensure the student truly understood the concepts of the assignment. Early in his career, this professor began several of the college's preparatory courses for students taking the graduate record examinations. He teaches many of the critical introductory courses in mathematics, including calculus, linear algebra, and probability and statistics. He also specializes in teaching upper-level theoretical courses. Those all give me the chills, actually. Brings back horrific memories. He earned all three of his higher education degrees from Penn State University. He earned a bachelor's in mathematics in 1970, going on to earn a master's in 1975 and a doctorate in 1982. Shortly after earning his master's degree, he taught at Juniata as a math instructor for the 1977-78 academic year. He rejoined the faculty at Juniata in 1982. He was promoted to associate professor in 1988 and was promoted to full professor in 1996. At Penn State, he received the 1970 Evan Pugh Award as an undergraduate. His primary academic interest is number theory, with secondary interest in abstract algebra, statistics, computer science, and complex analysis. He has served as a faculty advisor to the Null Set, Juniata's math club, and was chair of the math department from 1990 to 1994. He's an accomplished musician and plays piano at many Juniata events each year. He also is an organist at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. He has been a member of the Juniata College Choral Union for more than 3 decades and sometimes serves as rehearsal accompanist for that group. He is a member of the American Mathematical Society and the Mathematical Association of America. Please join me in recognizing the recipient of the 2015 Beachley Award for Distinguished Teaching, Ben Sunderland. How about one final round of applause for all of our student award winners, our faculty award winners. Congratulations. You're not going to believe it, but we are on schedule. And I am presiding over these events. Mark it in the minutes, please, for those who doubt. Before we leave, we have just a couple of brief announcements. First, our award recipients and families are invited to a buffet dinner in the intramural gymnasium, which is over there in Kennedy, beginning in about 10 or 15 minutes. And seniors, you will recess after the faculty depart. Second, as you go over to Kennedy, please go immediately to the main gymnasium in Kennedy Sports Center for the senior class photo. Brian Gilbert will close us up with singing the Alma Mater.
To Juniata College, dear, in praise we raise our song, the place of loyal hearts and cheer, which we have loved so long. We love the pathways to and fro, the classrooms